Let's talk about a company that's tackling the housing crisis with a really radical idea. I mean, forget everything you think you know about construction. This team isn't just building houses, they're building the factories that build the houses. Yeah, let's dive into it.
Now listen to this quote from the founders. It sounds like a total paradox, right? A riddle. Mass producing the factory? It's a strange concept for sure, but it is the absolute heart of their entire strategy. So, that's the big question for us today. How in the world does a system like this actually work? And, maybe more importantly, does this crazy idea have a real shot at making homes affordable and accessible for all of us?
The company we're talking about is called Kooie. And to really get their breakthrough, we first have to take a step back and look at why so many other companies have tried and failed to revolutionize construction with factories. It's a long history of big dreams and even bigger logistical nightmares.
For decades, right, people have been trying to bring the efficiency of a manufacturing line to home building. And on paper, it makes perfect sense. But in reality, the execution has just consistently hit a brick wall. So let's look at the old model and see exactly where it went wrong.
So this has pretty much been the standard playbook. You build one gigantic centralized Gigafactory, think Ford or Tesla, but for houses. It just cranks out these modular homes or wall panels, which then get loaded up on trucks and shipped all over the country.
The dream of amazing efficiency and low costs pretty much crashes and burns against a harsh reality. For one, shipping massive chunks of a house is incredibly expensive. Then, you still need a highly skilled local crew to put it all together. And a one-size-fits-all house just doesn't work when you have over 26,000 different local zoning codes across the US alone. It's a logistical nightmare.
Okay, so this is where Kooie's big idea just changes the game completely. They looked at all the failures of the Gigafactory, and they flipped the entire model on its head. Instead of bringing the house parts from a factory, they decided to bring the factory to the house.
Their solution is the mobile Microfactory. It's a smaller pop-up factory that can be set up pretty much anywhere, right next to the construction site. And the whole system is designed from the ground up to be operated by a local, unskilled workforce. So boom, you've just solved two of the biggest problems at the same time.
The best way to wrap your head around this is to think about Amazon. Instead of having one giant warehouse in the middle of the country, Amazon built this huge network of local distribution centers to get products closer to you faster. Kooie is doing the exact same thing, but for making homes. Okay, so here's how it actually plays out on a project. A developer comes to Kooie with a plan. Kooie then ships in and sets up a complete microfactory nearby, and they do it in just a few months. That factory starts producing this super precise kit of parts for the homes, and Kooie's own team assembles it all right there on site.
Now the secret sauce that makes all of this possible, it's total vertical integration. See, they're not just buying parts from other companies and sticking them together. They design and build everything themselves. The machines, the software that runs the machines, and the homes themselves. This gives them absolute control over the quality, the cost, and the speed.
Okay, so the system is super clever. I think we can all agree on that. But does it actually work? Does it deliver? Let's get into the numbers, because this is where it gets really interesting.
Get this, it took over 400,000 engineering hours to design the entire manufacturing process. We're talking about designing the tools that build the tools that ultimately build the house. It's incredibly deep.
And here is the number that is the real economic game changer. In traditional construction, something like 70% of a home's cost is just skilled labor. It's huge. By designing a system that basically anyone can learn to use, Kooie is taking a sledgehammer to the single biggest expense in home building.
And just to give you a sense of scale here, when we say microfactory, don't think it's tiny. A single one of these factories arrives packed into 120 shipping containers. It is a complete high-tech production line that you can set up almost anywhere in the world. And here's the best part. Instead of just taking those labor savings and pocketing them, they reinvest that money into way better materials. So while a traditional builder might be cutting corners with cheaper wood, Kooie is using steel frames, high-end insulated panels, and even triple-pane windows. They're literally building a better home for less money.
And this brings us right back to that mind-bending idea from the beginning. To scale this whole vision, they built what they call a Papa Factory. A factory whose only job is to build more mobile microfactories. They are literally mass-producing the means of production. It's wild.
So what does all of this add up to for the future? I mean, we're not just talking about a new construction technique here. This could be an entirely new infrastructure for how we build our communities from the ground up.
The ultimate vision, the big dream, is a consumer experience just like buying a car. You go online, you customize your home on a website, you click order, and 45 days later, it's ready. That is a level of speed and customization that's just unimaginable in construction today.
But, okay, let's keep things in perspective here. The housing crisis is immense. Even if Kooie hits their incredibly ambitious 10-year goal of 275 factories, they will still only be serving less than 2% of the U.S. housing market. That just shows you the staggering scale of the problem. And, well, the opportunity. You know, for generations, home ownership has been this cornerstone of the American dream, a real symbol of stability and moving up in the world. And as that dream has slipped away for so many people, the question really becomes, is a technological leap like this what we need to bring it back?
Ultimately, Kooie isn't just pitching a new way to build a house. They are trying to build a completely new system for housing itself. And if they actually succeed, it forces all of us to ask a much, much bigger question. What kind of cities and communities are we going to build with this technology? What will our neighborhoods look like in 20 years?